Hello, this is Tim. I'm reading from Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, and I wanted to do this because I wanted to talk about and deal with black women in the United States. And usually in the United States, you can always go back to the plantation because we've never really gotten rid of that plantation society construct. Every time we try to move away, powerful people brought us back to it, and we're still here. I want to read this section between what happens between black women and white women. The jealous mistress. I would 10,000 times rather that my children should be the half starved paupers of Ireland than to be the most pampered among the slaves of America. I would rather drudge out my life on a cotton plantation till the grave opened to give me rest than to live with an unprincipled master and a jealous mistress. Rather be poor than a life of comfort. Whereas most modern blacks would rather live a life of comfort and suffer under degradation than to struggle. The felon's home in a is a in a penitentiary is preferable. He may repent and turn from the error of his ways and so find peace, but it is not so with a favorite slave. She is not allowed to have any pride of character. It is deemed a crime in her to wish to be virtuous. Miss Flint possessed the key to her husband's character before I was born. She might have used this knowledge to counsel and to screen the young and the innocent among her slaves, but for them she had no sympathy. They were the objects of her constant suspicion and malevolence. She watched her husband with unceasing vigilance, but he was well practiced in means to evade it. What he could not find opportunity to say in words he manifested in signs. He invented more than were ever thought of in a deaf and dumb asylum. I let them pass, as if I did not understand what he meant, and many were the curses and threats bestowed on me for my stupidity. One day he caught me teaching myself to write. He frowned, as if he was not well pleased, but I suppose he came to the conclusion that such an accomplishment might help to advance his favorite scheme. Before long, notes were often slipped into my hand. I would return them saying, "I can't read them, sir." "Can't you?" he replied. "Then I must read them to you." He always finished the reading by asking, "Do you understand?" Sometimes he would complain of the heat of the tea room and order his supper to be placed on a small table in the piazza. He would seat himself there with a well satisfied smile and tell me to stand by and brush away the flies. He would eat very slowly, pausing between mouthfuls. These intervals were employed in describing the happiness I was so foolishly throwing away, and in threatening me with the penalty that finally awaited my stubborn disobedience. He boasted much of the forbearance he had exercised toward me, and reminded me that there was a limit to his patience. When I succeeded in avoiding opportunities for him to talk to me at home, I was ordered to come to his office to do some errand. When there, I was obliged to stand and listen to such language as he saw fit to address to me. Sometimes I so openly expressed my contempt for him that he would become violently enraged, and I wondered why he did not strike me. Circumstanced as he was, he probably thought it was better policy to be forbearing. But the state of things grew worse and worse daily. In desperation, I told him that I must and would apply to my grandmother for protection. He threatened me with death, and worse than death, if I made any complaint to her. Strange to say, I did not despair. I was naturally of a buoyant disposition, and always I had a hope of somehow getting out of his clutches. Like many a poor simple slave before me, I trusted that some threads of joy would yet be woven into my dark destiny. And here you have, she's trying to get out of her master's clutches, and he's trying. He's trying to get her and get in her pants and get between her legs. Um, it is said that, and I don't know if this is still true, but that white slave masters love to have black sex. And I don't know, there was a lot of light skinned slaves. So um, I'm not sure if that has carried to today, but I'm sure there's still some people who desire when you have ethnic groups to go across the lines. But isn't that something? What they had to go through, and I would have to ask a black woman and see if she's honest to tell me what it is. Are they still going through it? And if they are even aware that they're going through it. Um, Incidents of the life of a slave girl. Thank you for your support. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.